Welcome back to another video. If you're stopping by the channel for the first time, please consider subscribing to my channel. And while you're at it, smash that like button for me. I really would appreciate it. Also, hit that post notification bell so that you're notified every time I upload a new video. Be careful down in the comment section of the videos. A lot of spam, a lot of scammers. I will never ask you to contact me by WhatsApp or Telegram. I also do not invest money for my subscribers, so please be careful. Don't get yourself scammed. If you want up to 12 free stocks, Webull is going to give you up to 12 free stocks when you open a new Webull brokerage account. Put any amount of money in that brokerage account. They're going to give you up to 12 free stocks for just trying out their brokerage app. There's a link down in the description box of this video. Go click on that Webull link. Open up your new Webull brokerage account today. Go get that free stock. Go get that free money. I'm going to also send you a Webull tutorial video to walk you through how to use the Webull app to make your first trade. All you got to do is send me a DM on Instagram at RichardFain28. Let me know you opened your Webull account. Let me know you funded your Webull account. And I'm going to send you that free tutorial video so that you can start building wealth today. Why looking rich is not important. Several weeks ago, I did a video titled, Why Looking Poor Isn't Important. So I felt like, let me flip-flop that. And let's look at this I need to look rich mentality in our culture in order to get rich. Where that comes from, probably the 1%, right? The 1%, right? Programming us to think the only way you get like us is you got to go out and buy all this stuff. You got to go spend all your money, fake it till you make it, right? That's 1% programming. But what got me to thinking about this topic was actually the live stream I did yesterday, titled, Why Black People Are Keeping Black People Broke. That was a pretty controversial video. People liked it, some people didn't like it, but the reason I did it was because of a couple things happened, right? A couple things happened, and it just lit a fire under me. One of those things that happened was an attack on a good friend of mine, Coach Deion Sanders, head coach at the Colorado Buffaloes. People were attacking him online, and I didn't like that. And the people that were attacking him looked like me, looked like him. Black people attacking black people. So that got me going. And then I personally had an attack from someone on my Instagram page, sent me a DM. As a matter of fact, they sent me a couple of them, attacking me about my personal appearance, saying that I need to fix my personal appearance since I'm talking about wealth. And that got me to thinking this whole, well, what do I need to do? Do I need to put on a three-piece suit, shave, get veneers? What do I need to do in order to be able to talk about building wealth? Do I need to look rich? Do you need to look rich in order to build wealth? Again, man, that's programming. That's the 1% putting this idea in our head. The only way we get like them is if we go out and fake it till we make it. Spend every penny you have. Fake it till you make it. Spend every penny you have. Go get the BMW. Go get the big house. Go get the fancy clothes. Go get all the designer clothes. Fake it till you make it. That's how you get wealthy. That's how you get rich. Guys, that is a bold-faced lie. Just like you got to look poor to get rich. Or the people who are rich look poor. All of that's a lie, right? Building wealth has only thing to do with being rich and being poor is how you build wealth. If you build wealth the right way, you don't have to look poor or look rich. You just have to take your income, since that's your number one tool to build wealth. You just got to take your income and do what with it? Invest it in assets that grow over time and generate passive income. That's wealth. No one said you need to go out and be fancy. No one said you had to go out and look like you're homeless. You don't have to do any of that stuff. So you don't have to go from one extreme to the other. Oh, I got to go out and buy all this stuff and look wealthy and look the part so that I can feel confident, right? The better I look, the more confident I feel. You don't have to do that. Nor do you have to, well, I better not spend a dime. I better not shave and look like I don't have no money. Because if I look that way, psychologically, I'm gonna build wealth. Guys, I just think all of that is just 1% manipulation. All designed to do what? Get the 99% to spend money and do things they don't have no business doing in order to keep the 1% wealthy. That's all it is. It's programming. And I've told you guys on countless occasions, that's the number one tool of the 1% is manipulation. And they use the mainstream media and they used social media platforms. They use radio in order to manipulate you into doing what they need you to do in order to continue to make them wealthy. Don't buy into it. Do not buy into it. You don't have to look rich. You don't have to look poor. What you do have to do is take your income and make smart decisions with it. Right? That's what you got to do. I've had a couple of one-on-one calls today with some of my subscribers. I had one at 1 o'clock Eastern time, and I had another one at 4 o'clock Eastern time. The first call that I had was with a great lady, right? She is in the process of building wealth, but she had these financial puzzle pieces that she was having a hard time putting together. And she wanted me to consult with her, take a look at her situation, and then lend my opinion, right, on her situation so that she could formulate a plan to get herself where she needed to get. And I was so impressed with her because she was doing all the right things, but she was kind of second guessing herself a little bit. We talked about some businesses that she started, and the businesses were okay, but the problem she was having was she's one person. And you got these 4 or 5 businesses, but you're one person. How can you get any of your businesses to flourish to their full potential if you're only giving them 20% of your time? So I caution you guys, just like I cautioned her, be careful with starting too many businesses at once. Because here's the threat. The threat is you never spend 100% of your time on any of those businesses. So none of those businesses ever have the opportunity to reach their full potential. See, I'm a big believer in you take one idea at a time. You develop that idea, right? You make it profitable. And hopefully you get it to a point where it's on autopilot. And I don't have to give a lot of my time to it anymore. Once I do that, then I go to the next one. And that was my recommendation to her, was take a look at these businesses, figure out which ones are profitable, right? From a money standpoint, because really that's what you get in business for, is to make money, to be profitable. So that's the first thing you got to look at, guys, when you're thinking about a business. You got to look at, is this business profitable? And at some point, if it's not profitable, like Kevin O'Leary from Shark Tank would say, you got to take it around the barn and shoot it. Go to the next one, right? So that was really my conversation with her on these businesses. I said, hey, take a look at them, see which ones are sucking all your time, right? And then see which ones are not profitable. The ones that are sucking all your time and are not profitable, you got to get rid of them. And then just focus on the ones that are profitable and that are not eating up all of your time. And that process right there is something that she is going to take a look at. We also took a look at some of her other debts that she had, and she's doing great. But we came up with a plan for her to pay off some credit card debt that she kind of got when she was getting these businesses up and running. We came up with a good game plan to get that credit card debt paid off, because I told her, just like I'll tell you guys, if you got high interest rate credit card debt out there, you better be paying off that credit card debt before you invest one penny. None of you guys should be investing in any assets until you pay off the high interest rate credit card debt. You got to take care of that first, guys. We're in a situation in this country where credit card debt is at $1.3 trillion. And the average interest rate on credit cards right now is almost 25%. So the way I look at it is, if I got a $10,000 worth of credit card debt and I'm at a 25% interest rate on that credit card debt, I need to do everything I can to pay off that $10,000. It's just like me getting a 25% return on my money. So I go out here, I take my money, and I pay off this credit card debt. By doing that, I'm really getting a 25% return on my money. Why? Because the debt is costing me 25% every single day. That's how credit cards operate. It's compounding daily, guys. So that's what I told her. I said, look, here's a piece of advice. This credit card debt you have here, get rid of it. Give yourself 1 year. I told her, give yourself 12 months. You throw everything you can at paying off this credit card debt. And then you start increasing your investments into assets that will build wealth for you. That's my recommendation to you guys as well. So that was the highlight of that call. And again, this lady, she wasn't trying to look rich. She wasn't trying to look poor. She was just trying to do the very best she could with her active income to turn it into passive income. And that's what we talked about, right? The second call I had was a younger gentleman. And he was looking for answers to his questions. And he had a list of questions for me, and we went through all of them. We talked about real estate investing. We talked about stock market investing through paper assets. We talked about a little bit about my story, how I got started. But again, he wasn't trying to look rich. He wasn't trying to look poor. He was just trying to get to freedom. So that's what we got to focus on, guys. We don't have to be fancy. We don't have to try to look rich. We don't have to go out and fall for the manipulation tactics of the 1%. See, they want us to think we need to go out and buy things we don't need in order to look the part, look like we got money. But in actuality, we're up to our eyeballs in debt. And we're one paycheck, one missed paycheck away from financial disaster. That's where the 1% want us, guys, every single day of our life. They want us one paycheck away from financial disaster. They want us scared and afraid. Because when we're scared and afraid, we make bad financial decisions, right? We make bad financial decisions that don't benefit us. It benefits the 1%. So please, guys, be careful. Be careful with this, I gotta look rich. I gotta fake it till I make it. Be careful with this. Oh, I got to look like I'm poor so everybody thinks I'm poor, but yet and still, that's going to give me the motivation to get rich. Nah, I don't think so. I don't think so. Your motivation to get wealthy should be your freedom. That's all the motivation you should need. Your motivation to get wealthy and get to your freedom should be so important to you that you will not allow anything to get in its way. We're not talking about worship and money. We're not talking about just chasing money, guys. We're talking about lifestyle. We're talking about controlling 100% of our time. We're talking about controlling our own financial destiny. We're talking about really freeing ourselves up to really go out and pursue the things that are extremely important to us. That's what it's all about. At least for me, that's what my freedom is about. And I don't care how I look. I'm not here to be, physically pleasing to you. I guess that's what this person was trying to get me to do. But see, I'm an OG. I'm an OG. I'm free as well. See, all this fancy stuff and all this, I don't care about any of that. See, when I look at a person, I don't look at them and say, ooh, they look rich. Ooh, they look poor. I don't see that when I look at people. When I look at people, I try to figure out, are they kind? Do they have other people's interests at heart? Are they here to take advantage of somebody? Are they here to help? And then I also talk to them and think about, what are they trying to get accomplished in this financial life we're in? It should be freedom. That's it. The only thing should matter is freedom. And I keep telling you guys, mentally, we're not free. You're not free. You don't free yourself mentally or physically until you have assets sufficient enough to take care of you. Anytime you gotta mentally go to work for somebody or physically go to work for somebody, that's not freedom. That's not real financial freedom, right? Because if they take that paycheck from you, how long will you survive? How long can you survive if your employer or your business took the paycheck from you? How long could you survive? You really have to answer that question, guys, because if it's, I wouldn't survive long, then you gotta stand up, right? You gotta stand up and start redirecting yourself so that you can get yourself in a position where you can look in the mirror and say, if I lost that job, no big deal. I got assets over here sufficient enough to take care of me. That's where you want to be. See, that's where the financial stress rolls off of you. But we have so much financial stress in this country because we're listening to the 1%, and the 1%, they're telling us, this is what you need to do to look like us. This is what you need to do to beat us. When really it's just a lie, right? They want you to believe that so you can go out and take your hard-earned money and buy things that benefit them. And that's what we talked about in these two one-on-ones I had today with these two different people, right? Two different people at two different points in their financial life. We talked about what's important to you. At the end of the day, right? What's important to you? My recommendation and my thought process was more time, more freedom, and more choices should be important to them. I don't know. Is that important to you? If you had more time, more freedom, and more choices in your life, how would your life be different? How would it be different? I don't know. Would you be happier? Would you be less stressed about money? I know for me, at the age I am right now, being financially free, controlling my time, controlling my financial destiny, having more choices, having more freedom, having more time. It's just a whole nother world for me, man. I worked in banking for 25 years and I thought I was happy. I thought I was, wow. It's nothing like getting up in the morning and being able to plan your day the way you want to plan it without worrying about somebody firing you, without worrying about how I'm gonna pay the mortgage, without worrying about how I'm gonna pay the car payment, without worrying about where am I gonna get my next meal. It's about freedom. If that's not what you were working towards, you're missing something. You're missing something if you're not working towards freedom, guys. Financial freedom. I don't care how many designer shoes you have. I don't care how many designer bags you have. I don't care if you got a $2,000 suit on. I don't care if you got a $50,000 Rolex on. I don't care about any of that stuff, and you shouldn't either. Because having all that stuff but not being free, you gotta readjust some things up here, man. You do. I've been caught up in that world myself. Early on in my career, I was caught up in that same world of trying to keep up with the Joneses, trying to look like and emulate somebody that I thought was wealthy. And guess what it got me? Nothing. It got me debt. It got me broke. It got me scared to death of losing my job, to the point where I would go in there and work 6 days a week, even there when I didn't need to be there, because I was petrified of not making that job work and getting fired. That's not the way anyone should live, guys. You shouldn't be living that way. But you will continue to live that way unless you reprogram yourself in your filter system. You have to reprogram your filter system, guys. You do. Right now, a lot of us, and the reason I can say this is because you go look at the statistics in this country. It's pretty easy to figure out where we're at as a nation, right? It's pretty easy to figure that out. You got $33 trillion in debt as a country, right? 33 trillion in debt. The American people alone got 15, 16 trillion, maybe a little higher than that. You got 100 million people who don't have no retirement savings. You only got 350 million people in this country. That's including adults and babies and kids. So when you look at the percentage of adults in this country, 100 million of them have no retirement savings. That's scary, man. I just looked at a statistic today. 62% of Americans are living paycheck to paycheck. That's the 1%. That's what the 1% has put you in that box. Programming, right? So how do you change that? How do you get yourself out of living paycheck to paycheck? How do you get yourself out of that 100 million people living without any retirement savings, right? How do you get yourself out of those people who have ran up the credit card debt to 1.3 trillion? How do you get yourself out of that student loan crisis that's at 1.6 trillion? How do you get yourself out of that auto loan crisis. Auto loan debt, that's about 1.5 trillion. How do you get yourself out of all of that? It starts with reprogramming. It starts with your behavior with money. If you do not change your behavior with money, guys, you will never get yourself out of these traps. Student loan debt is a trap. Credit card debt is a trap. Car loan debt is a trap. Not having any money in retirement savings and you're a grown person, man or woman, grown person, is a trap. It's all a trap. Living paycheck to paycheck is a trap that's been set for you by the 1%. We got to reprogram the way we think. And it starts with your behavior with money, right? It starts with your behavior with money. What do I mean? Well, there's some fundamental things that you got to do in order to reprogram yourself. And I'm going to give the 4 fundamental financial principles that you need to adapt if you want the opportunity to reprogram yourself and change your behavior with money. Number 1, I got to live on less than what I make. If I got $3,000 a month coming in, I got to live on 2. Yeah, that means I'm going to have to sell some stuff. That means I'm going to have to stop going out to eat. Yep. That means I can't take no vacations. Yep. That means I can't go buy a pair of Jordans. Yep. That means I may not be able to go get my hair done, get my nails done. Yep. Toes done. Yep. Live on less than what you make. Principle number 1. Principle number 2. Live on a plan. Oh, my plan up here in the filter system. Nah, that's not good enough. You got too much stuff going on in your filter system. Why? Because you got bad behavior with money. So if your plan up there in your filter system with all that other bad behavior with money stuff, I see why you're in the position you're in. No, you can't depend on the filter system because you ain't reprogrammed yet. You're still programmed the old way. So you got to go sit down, pen, pencil to paper, and write down all the money you got coming in, right? And all the money you got going out. You got to write those 2 things down. Income, expenses. And if you ain't got no money left over at the end of the month, can't build wealth. So what you got to do is when you sit down and put this financial budget together, you got to say, well, okay, I got this $3,000 a month coming in, right? And when I write my expenses down, I got $4,000 a month in expenses. How can that be? Well, I can tell you how that can be. You buying things you don't need. So then step 2 to the personal budget is I then got to go through my expenses. So I got to write my income down. I got to write down all the expenses. And then I got to go through the expenses line item by line item. Okay, food, grocery store, $100. That's a need. Food, going out to eat 5 times in the month. That's a want. Scratch through that one. You got to throw it out. Go down again. Okay. Leisure. Oh, I shouldn't have a line item for leisure if I'm living on more than what I make. There shouldn't be a line item for leisure. Oh, we all need leisure. No, you don't. You get leisure when you can afford to have leisure. Right now, you owe more in expenses than you got coming in income. There ain't no leisure. There's no travel budget. So you got to strike through leisure. And then you got to keep going down that list of expenses. Striking through all the wants. Some of you might say, well, what's the difference between a need and a want? A need is essential and vital to life. Food is a need. But going to a restaurant to get that food is not a need, it's a want. Going to a restaurant is not essential to life. Going to the grocery store and buying your food and bringing it home and cooking it is essential to life. That's the difference, guys. So you need to go through that budget and you need to get them wants out of there, right? Once you do that exercise, I guarantee you're gonna save some money. Now, saving money alone ain't gonna get you to freedom though. But what are you doing though? You're working on changing your behavior with money through these financial principles. So now all of a sudden, I got money left over at the end of the month. Whoa, what does that do for me psychologically? It gives me that financial confidence I need now to be able to say, well, okay, I got this money now. I done got rid of all of these wants. Man, I did not know I was spending that much money on wants. So I'm making $3,000 a month. I was spending $4,000 a month, but now I'm only spending $2,000 a month because I cut out all of those things that I really don't need and that are not essential to life. Principle 3, you got to stay out of consumer debt. No excuses, guys. There ain't no exceptions. You got to stay out of consumer debt. Right? You cannot buy things that you cannot pay for on the spot. You can't. Because your behavior with money is raggedy. That's the reason why you're in debt today. So if you want to recalibrate, reprogram, I got to put myself on a strict cash-only budget. I can't use credit cards anymore. Can't do it. Because normally, if I'm drowning in consumer debt, normally my credit limit or my credit cards or my credit score, all that stuff is shot, right? If I'm drowning in debt, right? I've already maxed all the cards. Credit score is deteriorating quickly. Why? Because I'm living on more than what I make. Remember, I'm living on $4,000 a month, but I only make $3,000. What do you think that $1,000 is coming from? It's coming from your credit cards, probably. That's the emergency fund. So you gotta stay out of consumer debt. Just like I told the young lady that I spoke with earlier. I said, you gotta take that debt and you gotta throw every single dollar at it until you pay it off. And that's what I'm gonna tell you guys if you have consumer debt. You need to be throwing every free dollar. No investing, no building wealth yet until you pay off this debt. And then when you pay off that debt, that consumer debt, then I take those dollars that I was paying down on this consumer debt and I redirect them to build wealth. Every dollar you spend on consumer debt, paying debt, that's one less dollar you have to build wealth and get to your freedom. And the most important thing in this whole game, guys, is freedom. So consumer debt, you gotta stay out of it. You gotta stack rank this credit card debt, right? Highest interest rate to the lowest interest rate and start plowing money at it. Well, where am I gonna get that money? I don't have any extra money. Oh, isn't that sad? Oh, I guess you're gonna have to go out and get a second job. I guess you're gonna have to get some side hustles. Oh, I already work 10 hours a day and I deserve to get home and chill. Not if you want to get to freedom. Now, if you want to work for somebody for the rest of your life, go home and chill. Go home and be a consumer. Go home and get on the couch, get your bag of Cheetos and your soda and just watch somebody else's lifestyle who's already rich. You go ahead and do that for the rest of your life. And you're going to be broke. And you're going to be right there where you're at today. A year from now, you're going to be in that same spot. Not progressed any financially. Listen, guys, we got to do what we got to do until we can afford to do what we want to do. There ain't no breaks when I got $10,000 worth of credit card debt at 25% interest rate strangling me financially. There is no breaks. There ain't no break. You got to go out and get a side job. You got to get a side hustle. And you got to take those dollars and you got to pay off this debt. So yeah, that's where you're going to get the extra money from. You can get out there and work. Get your second job. Drive Uber. Drive Lyft. I don't know. Whatever you need to do, that's legal. Do it. Oh, I need 8 hours of sleep. Well, you get 8 hours again when you pay off this debt. Right now, you only need 4. For the next 6 to 12 months, you're going to sleep 4 hours a night. The other 20 hours, you better be hustling. Because if you want to get to freedom, you're going to pay some financial price to get to freedom, guys. You're not going to wake up one morning all of a sudden, I'm free. Oh, I got millions of dollars, I'm free. No, it don't work that way. You got to pay the financial price to get freedom. I was talking to the gentleman that I had to call with at 4 o'clock, and he asked me, well, do you got any advice for some short-term investments? And I was like, no, I'm the wrong guy for that. I don't know nothing about no short-term investments. See, in this country, that's why we in the shape we in, because we all looking for shortcuts. And when you talk about short-term investments, oh, how can I get there? How can I do? Most of us are basically, that's a code for, I just want it easy. I don't really want to do no work. I just want to give this guy my $2,500 and they're going to teach me how to buy houses and flip them. They're going to do all the flipping the house for me. They're going to do it all for me. All I got to do is send them $2,500. They're going to do it all for me. Yeah, okay. Go ahead and send it to them. See how many houses they flip for you. Y'all already see what's going on in the marketplace right now with all these scams going on, these real estate scams. People giving people 50,000, 100,000, 200,000, 300,000 turnkey projects. Yeah, turnkey in their pocket, and Joker don't give you nothing. And now all of a sudden you got to sue him. What you gonna sue? The guy broke. What you gonna sue? You can't sue somebody who ain't got nothing. But all of that goes back to what? Shortcuts. That's how you get in the weeds, guys. That's how you get in the weeds. And this is what I was telling this young gentleman. I was like, man, listen, I don't know nothing about no short-term stuff. Not like that. Not to build wealth. I don't know anything about that. Now, if you want to go out and find you somebody else, go ahead. My game is long-term. I'm the long-term game guy. Because I understand 99% of us going to have to play the long game if we're going to get to freedom. Look at the statistics. The statistics tell you everything you need to know about America and its economy, America and its financial habits. The statistics, if you look at them, they tell you exactly what our habits are. Our habits are what? We will earn. We're a good nation of earners, but we will spend every single penny of it. That's what the statistics tell us. We are good earners, but we spend every dime. That's why I'm trying to tell you these 4 financial principles so you can change that, right? You can change your situation. So, got to stay out of consumer debt, right? Do whatever I got to do, side hustles, extra jobs, cut out all the wants, take all of that money, pay down that debt. Then, once you've paid off all the debt, then it's time to save and invest, right? What's the save part? I know some of y'all might say, well, didn't you say a couple videos ago, you never gonna save again? You don't save money? I ain't talking about that kind of save. I'm talking about your emergency fund, your bump in the road fund. Everybody should have a financial bump in the road fund. That's the savings I'm talking about. Saving money, guys, is not gonna get you to freedom. But saving money will help you get over a temporary bump in the road, a temporary financial bump in the road. It will help you get over that. And that's the saving I'm talking about. So how much do I need to save, Richard? Well, it depends on your financial situation. But I normally recommend 3 to 6 months of your expenses. So if I got $2,000 a month in expenses and I really want to be safe, then I need to have $12,000 in my emergency fund. That would be the savings part of the 4th financial principle. You should have 3 to 6 months of your expenses in a savings account separate from your checking account. You do not want it connected to your checking account. We don't need bad habits. See, bad habits is, oh, we're connected to my checking account, so if I go overfund it, it'll just pull it over. No, that's not an emergency. Emergency is when you hit a real financial bump in the road. I lost my job, I'm sick, I can't work, and I need to pay my bills for the next 3 months till I can get back on my feet. That's an emergency. It ain't, oh, I broke a nail today and I don't get paid till Friday, so I'm gonna go to my emergency fund and pull $100 out of that and I'm gonna get the nail fixed and then I'm gonna replace it, but you never replace it. A nail broke is not a bump in the road. It's not a financial bump in the road, guys. It's not. It's not. But that's how we rationalize it. Why? Because that's how we program. See, that's how the 1% got us programmed. They got us programmed to think every little thing has to be now. We got to get it fixed now. We got to have it now. Don't wait. You don't have to wait. You deserve it now. That's how they got you tricked. That's why you spend all the money you make. That's why 100 million Americans have no retirement savings. That's why $1.3 trillion in credit card debt exists right now in this country. We lead the world. There's not another country in the world higher than that. We lead the world. And all the other categories too that I talked about earlier. Now the invest part of that fourth financial principle in order to do what? Reprogram yourself, right? Change your behavior with money. Those are the 4 principles, guys. Basic principles. And I'm telling you, if you follow those 4, you're going to be better off in a year. So the investment piece. Well, do I need to be an expert, Richard? No, you don't. Good for you, you don't. You don't have to be an expert. But you do have to have discipline. You do have to have patience. And you do have to have what? Consistency. See, investing requires that. Those are the things you have to have if you're going to be successful at investing. You ain't got to be an expert on the stock market. You ain't got to be an expert in the real estate market. You ain't got to be an expert to start a business. No, you don't have to be an expert in none of that stuff. But you do have to have those 3 things. Got to have those 3 things. Or you're not going to be a very good investor. And you're not going to build wealth. So what do I do? Well, number 1, before you start investing, you got to figure out what your goal is. What am I trying to get accomplished? See, a lot of us think, oh, I'm just going to invest, but I ain't got no idea why I'm investing. You got to sit down and think about what you're trying to get accomplished. What do I really want to get accomplished by taking this $500 a month or this $1,000 a month? What do I really want to accomplish by taking this money that I've earned, that I've kept, and that I want to multiply? What am I trying to get accomplished? See, when I was 30 years old and I had that conversation with myself, I said, well, Richard, what are you trying to get accomplished, man? Well, I'm trying to get the freedom. I'm trying to get the freedom. Well, how long do you want to give yourself before you get the freedom, Richard? Well, I'm going to give myself 20 years because I don't need no pressure on me. I'm okay with trading time for money for 20 years. I'm okay with that. As long as I know at the end of that rainbow, that pot of gold gonna be there at the end of 20 years. That's all I care about. Because I know then I got the rest of my life to just do whatever I want to do. So that's what I said to myself. Okay, target date is 20 years. Well, Richard, in 20 years, you're taking this money, this active income, and you're putting it in investments. In 20 years, what are you gonna need to live? How much money will you need to live in 20 years? Now, I'm not saying you need to have some rock star lifestyle, but just a basic lifestyle, you know, where you don't have to worry about nothing. How much money would you need? So I looked at myself, I said to myself, shoot, man, if I get 10 grand a month, if I can get 10 grand a month from my investments, that'd be enough for me. Well, golly, you were 30 years old and the cost of living is going to be higher. How can 10 grand do it? See, that's the trap for the 1%. See, when I hear people start talking like that, that's the 1% trap, see. Listen, man, last time I checked, $10,000 is still a lot of money. It was a lot of money 20 years ago. It's still a lot of money today, especially when it's passive and I ain't got to do nothing to use it. I can mold my lifestyle around that 10. I don't care if it was 50 years out. Somebody gonna give me $10,000 a month to live? I'm gonna figure it out. So I said to myself, 10,000 a month. I ain't thinking about no inflation. I ain't thinking about no increase I ain't thinking about none of that because I already know that's a 1% trick. That's a trap. I ain't gonna think. Because see, when you go to thinking about all that, you discourage yourself. Oh, golly, that's gonna be hard. Shoot, 10,000, that means, shoot, if it's 10,000 today, that means in 20 years, shoot, man, that's 25,000 in 20. See, that's what a 1% got you all discombobulated. Then you do what you do, you quit. See, that's how they got you. They got you programmed that way. $10,000 is $10,000. I don't care if it's today or 20 years from now. $10,000 is still gonna be a lot of money. So I said to myself, $10,000. That's my goal. I wanna take my active income and I wanna put it in investments. And I want to turn those investments into money machines, money printers, producing $10,000 a month. So now I got my target date, which is 20 years. I got my target amount, which is $10,000 a month. Last piece of the puzzle is my target net worth. See, you need to know all three of these things, guys, before you can start investing. You do know that, right? Maybe I didn't mention that on 1,000 other videos I did, but let me mention it on this one. You do know that. You do know you need those three pieces of information if you're gonna build an effective financial plan to get you to freedom. You do know that. Okay, let's proceed then, since you know that. So, target net worth. So I said, okay, I'm gonna give myself 20 years to grind. Delay gratification, grind, 20 years. At the end of that 20 years, I need $10,000 in income coming in. But how in the world, how much money do I need in my investments? How much do I need to grow my investments to in order to get to $10,000 a month in passive income, where I do nothing? I just kick back on the beach, sand, toes in the sand, looking at the beautiful water, looking at the beautiful sun, just enjoying life, right? How do I create that? How much in net worth do I need in order to generate $10,000 a month in passive income? So I use the rule of 200. Rule of 200 says you take the $10,000, you times it by 200. And that'll give you the net worth or assets you need to have in order to generate $10,000 a month in passive income. Oh, you mean to tell me I gotta build my net worth to $2 million? How in the world am I gonna do that? Don't worry about that just yet. Just know that's the number. So I take my 2 million, I take a conservative rate of return, pre-tax, 6%. I take the 6% after I built my wealth. I built my wealth over the last 20 years. I build my wealth to 2 million. How do I build my wealth to 2 million? Guess what I do? I follow the first three principles. That's how you build your wealth to whatever your number is. You follow those first three principles. Live on less than what you make. Live on a plan. Stay out of consumer debt. You do those three things, you will get to step 4 and get to your number. You don't do those three things, you'll never get there. See, it ain't complicated, guys. Do those first three things, you get there. Don't do those first three things, you don't get there. It's pretty cut and dry. So I said to myself, okay, so you mean to tell me for the next 20 years, I gotta take every dollar I make outside of my needs. I'm gonna service my needs, I'm gonna pay for my needs. But every dollar after my needs, I gotta put into something that'll build it over the next 20 years. Every month, every year, every decade, for 20 years, 2 decades. Yeah, that's what you gotta do, Richard. If you're willing to do that, by the time you're 50 years old, you'll have $10,000 a month in passive income coming in and you'll be done. Okay, I'm cool with that. How do I get started? What do I need to invest in? Well, here's what you gotta figure out. What asset classes do I wanna use to put this money in to multiply it? For me, guys, it was real estate for income and the stock market. Those were the 2 asset classes that I used. Doesn't have to be the asset classes you use, but that's what I use. So I would take my money from trading time. I trade time to the bank. They pay me a check. I take that check But see, I didn't take that check and spend it and have fun and do all this other stuff and then turn around and say, oops, I only got $100 to invest. My lifestyle came first and that's all I got left. No, that ain't what I did. What I did was when my little money came in, I said, I paid myself first. Then I lived my lifestyle. So as soon as that money come in, boom, gone to investments, 20%, 30%. At the height of it, I was doing 50% of that money to investments first. And then whatever little 50% was left, that's what I lived my lifestyle on. That's what you're gonna have to do. You gotta pay yourself first. That's how you create enough money, guys, to invest in these assets. Stock market, real estate. You gotta pay yourself first. You cannot pay the 1% first. And then whatever's left over, you wanna, oh, I can't invest nothing because I paid all of it to the 1%. They tricked me. I done paid all of it to 1%, buying things I don't need, living the lifestyle I can't afford, all so I can keep the 1% wealthy. You got to stop that. You got to see that's a part of changing the way you think about money, changing your behavior with money. That's how the 1% got you programmed and manipulated, that you take your first dollars and you invest it in them. That's what most of Americans do. Instead of saying, oh, pump the brakes. I got this direct deposit today. The first fruits of my labor going to me. I'm gonna pay me first through investing. I'm taking 20% off the top of that direct deposit. It's going in 401k, it's going in Roth IRA, it's going in traditional brokerage account. It's going in real estate. It's going into a business. That's paying yourself first. That's how you multiply money. Right? Now, the way I used real estate was I was very, very simple. I wasn't sophisticated at all, guys. Right? I wanted to buy residential properties in the very best locations I could afford. And the way I determined if I would buy a property, I would look at that community and I said, Richard, would you live there? And if I said no, I wouldn't buy it. Because I was trying to attract tenants like me, people who were trying to get their financial act together, people trying to get the freedom. See, those types of people, when they got their right behavior with money right and they're reprogrammed, they're not gonna tear up your house, your rental property. They're gonna pay their rent on time. Why? Because they're trying to progress in this financial life. So that's how I stayed out of the weeds with real estate. I would only buy single family homes in great communities where people had a desire to live. And the test was, would I live there? And if I would, I'd buy the property, put a tenant in it, and wait. I'd duplicate that process every 2 years. Buy another one in 2 years, put a tenant in it, and wait. Another 2 years. Buy another one, put a tenant in it, wait. Buy another one, put a tenant in it, wait. Buy another one, put a tenant in it, wait. What was I waiting on? I was waiting on the property to appreciate in value because that's where the net worth was. Remember that $2 million number I said I needed to get to in 20 years? That's how I got there. I didn't get there through the rental income. I got there through the equity that was added to that property every year. That's why I say you gotta be in a location where people have a desire to live. Properties appreciate in value when people have a desire to live there. You wanna go buy a property in some undesirable location where people trying to get out of, it don't appreciate in value. Yeah, you might get some Section 8 income out of it, but you ain't gonna get no appreciation in the value of the property. Why? Because nobody wanna live there. People are living there by force. They're not living there because they wanna live there, they're living there because their financial situation is horrible and that's all they can afford. Do you really think those people are gonna take care of your property? No, they're not. So you choose. For me, it was, I'm gonna go over here, I'm gonna pay more, I'm gonna get tenants that wanna pay rent and wanna do well financially, and I'm gonna get 3 to 4% appreciation every year on this property, and I'm gonna hold these properties for 10 or 15 years. And at the end of that 10 or 15 years, I'm gonna create $1 million in net worth by holding these properties. And they just go up in value, get you about 10 of them, and that's all I needed. I didn't need 30, I didn't need 50, I didn't need 100, 10. $100,000 worth of appreciation over a 10-year period on 10 properties. That's $1 million in what? capital gain. That's how I built my wealth, guys. And then the other one was the stock market. So remember I told you when that check came in, that direct deposit came in, I paid myself 20, 30, 40, 50%. As I got more income, I paid myself more. Part of that money went into real estate, but the other part went into paper assets through 401ks, Roth IRAs. So I would just take the money and put it in all equities. I would just put it in the biggest and best equity fund I could find in whatever little 401k I was participating in. I didn't want no bonds. I didn't want no international stocks. I wanted all American big boy blue chip companies. And that's all I put my money in for 20 something years, just like that. Pretty simple. I didn't have 15, 20 individual stocks that I'm trying to manage and trying to pick winners and losers. I didn't do any of that. All I said is I'm gonna bet on the S&P 500. I'm gonna bet on the top 500 companies in America. I'm gonna bet on the top 3,500 companies in America. That's where I'm gonna put my money. If they do well, I do well. And that's what I hung my hat on, guys. And I just did that every single 2 weeks. Direct deposit, come in, boom, automatically go out, right? 401k, Roth IRA, taxable brokerage account. And I bought the same investments over and over and over and over and over. Why? Patience, consistency, discipline. That's how you change your behavior with money, guys. You got to have those three things, right? So now, fast forward 20 years, boom, I done built these assets. And I said to myself, okay, Richard, you at the 20 years, what you gonna do? What you gonna do, man? Was that all talk or you ready to make a move? I was scared. I ain't gonna lie to y'all, I was scared. I was making six figures, man. And by that time, I'm making six figures. The job wasn't that hard because I had been doing it for 25 years. I had a great customer base, always doing loans with me, always bringing deposits, so I didn't have to go out and really network and work for nothing at that point. It was just cream puff, right? But I said to myself, I don't care how cream puffy it is, I'm still making somebody else wealthy and I'm still having to give them this 40, 45 hours a week. I'm done. Walked in, gave my senior lender my 2 week, and he was like, man, really? You what you gonna do? Like, man, I'm good. I'm gonna go chase this YouTube thing. What? You giving up a six-figure income to do what? I said, man, I'm going to help people. I think I got a solution to a problem. I think my solution is gonna solve some problems out there for people. And I think if I do it right, and I put people first, money second, I think I can pull this thing off. And that's what I did. I left the six-figure income job. No money. Because I hadn't turned my assets on yet. You gotta remember now, I hadn't turned no assets on. I had me a little savings over here, right? I had that emergency fund. And for me, it was 12 months of my expenses. That was my emergency. I said, okay, I got my assets, but I can't turn them on because I'm not at the appropriate age to fully turn them on. Because a lot of those assets were in 401ks and Roth IRAs, which you gotta be 59 and a half, which I was not, and I'm still not. So a lot of those I couldn't really just turn on until I was 59 and a half. So I said, okay, I think I got a solution to solve problems. Let's identify the problem. What is the problem? Financial literacy. Okay, that's the problem. What's your solution? Well, you got 25 years of banking experience. You got 25 years as an investor, both in the stock market and in real estate. You also have helped clients buy businesses. You've helped clients start businesses. You've helped clients scale businesses. So you got enough experience to wrap all that up into something to solve a problem for somebody. I don't know who that somebody is, but let's find a platform where we can start testing it. And that's what I did. I got on YouTube January 2020 full-time and started making videos offering my solution to the world's problem, which is what? Financial literacy. 4.5 billion people, guys, in this world have access to the internet. And I knew that. I said, I gotta be able to carve out some of that 4.5 billion. I gotta solve problems for some of that 4.5 billion. I got to. The only way I'm gonna find out is I gotta start making these videos and I gotta start posting them. I don't care how I look. All I care about is the information. Now, I wasn't a dummy though, because I knew a little bit about marketing. So I said, okay, I'm brand new at this thing. Nobody don't know me. I gotta have a carrot. I gotta have a carrot to get somebody to click on these videos. I gotta have a carrot. Or I gotta have a carrot so they'll stick around a little bit to figure out what's going on. So guess what I started doing? I filmed my cars. At the time I had, what did I have at the time? I had the Ferrari 458. I had a GT3, which I still have. I also had, I believe I had a Range Rover SVR, but an older one. So I had those three, the Ferrari, the GT3, and I think I had the Range Rover, or I had an SL63 AMG, something like that. So I did a quick little 30-second video, throw some music behind it, and that little thing right there was the first thing I would put in front of every video. That's the first thing people saw. And it worked, because people thought, whoo, this guy got all of this. Let me check out what this dude talking about. And then once they got into the video, they thought, oh, okay, this guy kind of do know what he's talking about. Okay, all right, I'm gonna rock with him for a minute. Let's see what he got going on. But that's how I kind of got the channel going. I said, I know a little bit of marketing 101, right? People want to see flashy stuff. I get it. The key was, the flashy stuff I was showing was all bought through what? Assets. Not me doing crazy stuff. It was through assets. But I used those resources, I used those cars as a way to engage people. And once I engaged them and they start hearing that, okay, this guy is no nonsense, no bells and whistles, not looking crazy, not acting crazy, ain't asking me for no money, right? Let me listen to him. And then this thing just kept growing. And that's where we're at today, right? Almost 700,000 people on the YouTube channel, almost 100,000 on Instagram. All because I do what? I try to provide information that help people solve what? A problem, which is financial literacy. And that's what I'm talking about today, guys. You gotta change your behavior with money. If you change your behavior with money and you follow those 4 financial principles I just gave you, if you just dedicate yourself to following them, you will get to freedom. You will get to freedom, guys. Now, if you're interested in talking to me about that in depth, then I do have a company called RF Financial Consulting. And in that company, I do exactly what I did with these 2 fine individuals I met with today. I have 1-hour financial sessions with them and with you, where we talk about your financial situation and I give you my experience. I don't hold your hand. I just give you my experience. We come up with a game plan that you have to follow. There's an email address down in the description box of this video. Click on that email address. It's not click on it, but get the email address and then you can just email me, right? RF Financial Consulting. And I'll send you a response on the email. I'll send you a response to your email letting you know what the price is and all the particulars. But that's what I do, guys. I sit down with people one-on-one and we have these conversations about filter system. We have these conversations about how to change their behavior with money. Because see, here's the deal, guys. I can tell you all of this stuff about what I did to build wealth. I can tell you all of that. But if your behavior with money is not right, if you haven't reprogrammed yourself, you're not going to do any of it. You're just not. So I don't really try and tell people what to invest in. What I try to get people to understand is get yourself ready to invest. And the way you get yourself ready to invest is you got to change your behavior with money. You got to reprogram yourself. You got to follow those 4 financial principles. If you follow the first 3, the natural step is to follow number 4, which is the save and invest piece. But you can't go straight to save and invest or you'll quit. First financial bump in the road you hit, you'll quit, right? First time, you'll quit. Why? Because you haven't done the work. Guys, anything worth having in this life, you got to pay the price to get. Ain't nothing free. You got to pay the financial price, which is disciplining yourself, being consistent, and being patient. And then doing what? Living on less than what you make, living on a plan, staying out of consumer debt. You got to do those 3 things before you invest. Hopefully, if you got nothing else out of this, you got that. There is no get rich quick. If you start chasing this get rich quick stuff, you're going to find yourself in a compromising situation where people taking money from you. Why? Because you're trying to find a shortcut. Ain't no shortcuts in this life. There ain't no shortcuts, guys. Right? You got to pay the price. If I want to be a professional athlete, there ain't no shortcuts. I had to pay the price to get to the NFL for my little 3 years. Lot of price I had to pay. A lot of days I didn't want to do anything, but I had to do it anyways. See, that's discipline. Why? Because I wanted the result. I didn't want to do it, but I did it anyways because I wanted the result. That's discipline. Doing something I don't want to do, but I do it anyways because I want the end result. That's discipline. Somebody wants to be a doctor or a lawyer. There ain't no shortcuts. You got to go to school. You got to bust your butt. You got to pay the price. Somebody wants to start a business and scale that business. Talk to any billionaire out there. Any one of them. I guarantee you, they'll tell you there was no shortcuts. You talk to the 88% of millionaires who are self-made in this country. I guarantee you, the majority of them will tell you there were no shortcuts. No shortcuts in this life, guys. Stop looking for shortcuts trying to build wealth. That's how you find yourself in the weeds. People take advantage of you because you're trying to put your financial freedom on their back. Oh, I want freedom, but I don't want to do it. I'm going to give it to you. Here's $2,500. Here's $3,500. Here's $5,500. And guess what? You do nothing. They give you nothing. You do nothing. And then all of a sudden, I knew it was all a scam. Everyone out there on this social media thing is a scam. Yeah, I knew it. You got caught up in the weeds because you're trying to find shortcuts. Ain't no shortcuts in this life. You got to take ownership of your own financial freedom. It's not someone else's responsibility. I don't care what background you come out of. I don't care. It's your responsibility. It's not your parents. It's not your grandparents. It's not your 3rd grade teacher. No, it's your responsibility. When you realize that, and you also realize you got to reprogram yourself and change your behavior with money, you'll be off to a good start. And follow those 4 financial principles I just gave you guys. Please follow them. If you don't follow them, I'm telling you guys, you ain't getting the freedom. You're not getting there. You're going to be 70 years old still working. And I'm not knocking people out there that are 70 working. I'm not. I'm just telling you the majority of people would prefer not to work when they're in their 70s. I would say the majority of people would prefer not to. That's the natural order of things, guys. We work for a certain period of time, and then we done. That should be the natural order. But see, the 1% have tricked us into thinking, oh shoot, you got to work till you're 67. That's when we're gonna give you a reward. What do you mean you're gonna give me my reward at 67? What's the reward? Oh, Social Security. I'll give you that. We'll give you a couple $1,000s a month. That's your reward for working for 40 years, making us wealthy. Give you that. Oh, thank you. You mean to tell me I'm 25 and I got to get 67? It's a lot of years. Oh, you can do it. I believe in you. It's a trap. You don't have to do that, guys. Hopefully you understand where I'm coming from. I appreciate y'all. I'm going to get out of here. I appreciate y'all. Guys, hit that thumbs up for me before you go. Hit the thumbs up for me. Hit the thumbs up for me. Please hit that thumbs up. Hit the thumbs up for me. It's extremely important, guys, to my YouTube channel, to this mission that I'm on, which is to spread financial freedom message. The only way I get to do that is I got to get you guys on board. I got to get you guys hitting that thumbs up so that I can get this YouTube thing to throw me out to more people. That's how YouTube works, if you didn't know. Yeah. You get thumbs up, they may throw you out to somebody that don't know you. You don't get no thumbs up, they ain't gonna throw you out, right? Either way, I appreciate y'all. But please, if you don't mind, hit that thumbs up before you tap out of here. why looking rich is not important. Hopefully you got something out of that, guys. Hopefully you got something out of that. I appreciate you stopping by the channel. Please share this video if you don't mind as well. Please share it with somebody in your network. I greatly would appreciate that. Also, the last thing I'm gonna do, and then I'm gonna get out of here, that Webull link. Guys, if you want a brokerage app that I use every single day, Webull is gonna give you up to 12 free stocks for just trying out their brokerage app. That link is down in the description box of this video. Go down to the description box, click on the Webull link, open up that Webull account. Open it up, put some money in it, right? And then send me a DM on Instagram at RichardFane28. Let me know you've opened it. Let me know you funded it. And then I'm gonna send you a free Webull tutorial video to walk you through how to use the app to make your first trade so you can start building wealth. Remember what I said, right? Step number four of these 4 financial principles. We need to adapt because we want to reprogram ourselves. We want to change our behavior with money. Those 4 principles. Number 4 is the invest, save and invest. That's what the Webull app is for. That's what we use that for. So if you want to rock with me, use the brokerage app I'm using, click on that link down below, open up that Webull account today, go get that free stock, go get that free money. If you're stopping by the channel for the first time, guys, please, like I said, subscribe, share the video, and smash that like button for me. Thoughts become things. You can see it in your mind. You can hold it in your hands. You guys keep chasing your greatness. Never stop believing in yourself. And I'm going to catch you on the next one. Peace.